My name is Thomas Quinlin. I'm the founder of Patriot Energy Systems. I founded the company about 3 years ago. The purpose of the company was to empower people, both figuratively and literally. So this whole process is based on a decentralization of power. In fact, it really is designed to put power back in the hands of people, where they become their own power plant, along with taking all the responsibilities of doing that. I originally designed this for the off-grid market. The irony is we're selling more to people who are on-grid than off-grid. So the units themselves, this is a fairly standard size. It's a standard 12,000 watt system. It's a charging system of roughly, depending on the size panels we use, anywhere between 3,000 and 5,000 watts. And we both have an output of 120. We can have a 240 output. In fact, our 240 outputs come standard with a 50 amp line, which is very similar to your main amp that's coming in from the grid. And then we can actually parallel these units so you can get up to 100,000 watts and three-phase output. So you could use these for manufacturing sites. You can use them for things such as commercial sites. We have people who are building 40 home complexes, and they're doing this instead of bringing in the grid. Because if the grid goes down, you're stuck. If you've got 3 or 4 of these or 10 of these and one of them goes down, you pull the one out, fix it, everything else is still working, you don't lose your electricity. The other issue is with one of these, you'll know what you'll pay for your electricity in the next 20 years. With the grid, I don't know where the price is going to be in the next 20 years, but I doubt it's going to be where it is now. So the idea of having a transportable system is we can deliver the system, it's plug and play. So literally when you actually deploy the system, it takes me 5 minutes to do this. I could even have you go through it yourself if you want to try. Once that's done, you push a button and everything else is done for you. You don't have to monitor the batteries, you don't have to monitor the electrical system. It's self-aware, and it actually communicates back and forth between the solar panels, which is the charging system, the battery, which is the energy storage system, and the discharge system, which is the inverter controller complex. So all of these mechanics and electrical systems are they're becoming smaller physically and becoming more powerful. You couldn't have even done this 5 years ago. The panels are actually less, they're more powerful. The inverter systems are more powerful and they have shrunk in size. And then the batteries right now is where most of the research is being done right now. They're warranted for 25 years. They'll last 100 years, but you don't just toss them let's say in a landfill, because you've got large metals in there that you really should deal with. So like any other renewable resource, it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be. It just that it gives you options. So this thing, it runs on solar, but if you had a wind generator, we could hook that up to it. If you had hydroelectric and you had like a river or a creek and you had enough headroom in the river or creek, we could hook that up to this. And the system has the ability to generate a communication link between the wind, the hydroelectric, the solar, and if you have a backup generator on here, it would do that as well. It talks back and forth, so it knows where to pull the energy from, how to store it on the battery system. It knows when to equalize the battery, so you don't ever have to go back and do that on your own. The system, the electrical output, is self-monitoring. Our electrical wiring, for example, is all UL approved, especially the 240 50 amp number. That's a lot of current. That's pretty much comparable to what you're going to get out of your main panel. So this is serious energy development right here, and power development. One of the main reasons I do this is that I'm very much into decentralizing and getting people away from monopolistic practices of the utilities. When one of the things I wrote about in my opus paper that I wrote was how corrupt the utilities are and how they take advantage of people every day. And you should know that anything that's involved in warranted and from the government, there's going to be abuses. So my attitude is, hey, just become your own power company and say goodbye. Now there's a lot of other advantages of having your own system, whether you're talking financially or whether you're talking lifestyle. The thing is that when you run your own power plant, you now have responsibilities. So for example, you'll learn to turn lights off. You'll actually start thinking in terms of what can you do to save on energy and not be someone who takes that casually. So I think these are all good things. The fact that this uses multiple sources for its energy, I think is also a good thing. It gives you more options. And the important thing is that we don't know what's going to happen in the next 20 years. Maybe we'll have another renaissance. Maybe the bad guys in the world will take over and we're going to go into another dark age. But if you got your own energy system, you're going to be able to live pretty well. You'll get your hot water. You'll have a well that works. You'll have hot water. You'll be able to have electricity to run things that you think you need around the house. You don't have to revert back to living in the Stone Age if things start going really bad. Especially with the batteries we use. The batteries, if they use them correctly and don't overcharge them, which we insure, you're 15, 20-year batteries. So these are things that you're going to hold long term. These are things that will affect your lifestyle, the lifestyle of your family, the lifestyle of your children. These are things that are going to grow in value. It's like a heavy-duty asset, kind of like crypto. It gains value over time, particularly with the solar. There's no moving parts. There's nothing to wear out. At worst, the panels have a degradation factor to them, so you'll lose about 20% of its power generation potential over 60 to 80 years. So for someone who's 70 like me, I don't worry about stuff like that. So there's a lot of other things that might be considered to be multiple minor points, but I think they're all worth to be taken. But overall, I think it's just, to me, it's just the ability to give the power back to people. And by having your own plan, by the way, there's still a 26% tax credit on this, which effectively would nearly cut your cost for not just our system, any system, by a third. That's a big deal when you think about the fact that the most expensive portion of this are the batteries. So the reason I like what we do is that I have a passion for what we're doing. I want to make a difference. It's kind of neat because we won't be the only people out there forever, because the first thing is that when people start noticing who we are, they start copying you. That's the highest compliment you can pay people. So that's why we've decided, for example, we're submitting utility patents, but the only reason we're doing it for now is just once they get submitted, our goal is to just go through the 3-year period. And by then, when the patent expires, we won't need it anymore. I don't believe in patents. If people think they can do a better job than us, then we should, be aware of what the market wants. So one of the things I do is I'm constantly taking feedback from our current customers and people who are prospective customers. I will tell you honestly that every great idea I've had on this didn't come from me. It came from customers. So I'm really proud of that. So, we're a bunch of working stiffs over at the shop, but we listen to people because our customers are referring fanatics up here. And it's kind of like anywhere else. You do something good for somebody up here, 2 or 3 people will hear about it. If you upset somebody, 100 people will hear about it. So we're good to everyone that comes into our office. We make a big deal out of the fact that we're not American made, we're Idaho made, and damn proud of it. We're very proud of the quality of the work. This thing, if it's treated right and you don't abuse it, this should last 80 to 100 years. And the only thing you might have to do is change the batteries.
Thanks for watching the show. I hope you enjoyed it. Head on over to GoldSilverBitcoin.com, where we have a store where we're selling precious metals. If you have Bitcoin, you can send those to us. We'll send you gold and or silver, whatever you're choosing. Alternatively, if you have gold and silver and you want Bitcoin, feel free to send us the gold and silver and we will send you Bitcoin. This is a service that we provided for clients since 2012, since when we were opened. You can also peruse the store and see we have all sorts of prep and survival gear, storable food, etc. So thanks for watching the show, and thanks for heading on over to GoldSilverBitcoin.com.